Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing this morning? I don't know about where everybody else is, but it is an early morning here in San Diego, and I'm excited to be here to answer all your questions. I'm sorry if you see me looking up and down. I've got two screens so I can look at your questions and answer them here. So I apologize if sometimes it looks like I'm not looking straight into the camera. All right. So let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. So I've got one question to start. Well, let me first see if, can everybody hear me okay? Maybe if you could just chat into the comment section and just say yes or no. Can you hear me? Great. Okay. Thanks, Anayansi. For those who don't know, Anayansi is my assistant, and she is on the call with us and helping out as well. So let's see. Sophie has a question here. It says, for those who can't see it, says, what's a good estrogen level when tested on day 3? What is a good progesterone level when tested 5 days after ovulation? And what is a good FSH level, and what day should it be tested? All right, Sophie. So first, I'll answer that question for you happily, Sophie. I want everyone to know that I want to be here today. We've got about maximum an hour for us all to talk, and I want to be here for us all to discuss the school. If you have questions about what the school offers, what it can do for you, and if you should join, then I want to be here today to really answer those questions. To get us started, I will answer Sophie's question right now. So Sophie, a good estrogen level tested on day 3 is somewhere between 40 and 80. I mean, you could go down to as low as 30 and 80, but you want to try and keep it within that range. A good progesterone level tested 5 days after ovulation. So normally I test progesterone 7 days after ovulation, and ideally we want it, I prefer 20 or above, but it could also be as low as 15 and it won't bother me too much, but I don't really like to see it below that. In terms of a good FSH level, that should really be tested on day 2, 3, or 4. And ideally, we're going to see that FSH level be below 10 and above 5. So between 5 and 10, ideally. There are other things that kind of influence all of those numbers, but in general, those are some basic landmarks that you're in, guidelines that you're looking for. All right, so let's see here. So it seems like we've got 7 people joining us. Any questions about the school? Any questions anybody has? I really didn't lay out anything in terms of specific topics to cover. I will go over, while we're waiting for some questions to come in, let me address some just general questions that come up. There is a difference between the basic and the premium membership. One of the basic differences is that in the premium, you get access to our private Facebook group, which is super valuable. I mean, everyone who's been involved in it has really loved it. With that, you also get more one-on-one attention from me, more specific Q&As and live Google Hangouts like this that pertain to the school and your specific needs. So it makes it easier to customize the school program to yourself. They're both excellent, but that's really one of the biggest differences. And then premium members also have access to a 30-minute consultation with my nutritionist, and the basic members do not. And so that's also one of the key differentiators between with the school. All right, let's see if there's any questions yet. Okay, so then I'll address some of the other things that come up. Often we get questions if, actually I got one of these yesterday from a patient, or from someone I was speaking to. She said she wanted to know if her specific condition really made sense for her to do the school. She had been trying for, I think it was 4 or 5 years, had multiple miscarriages. She was more of a complex situation. And she felt like in her research over the years that she was very comfortable with a lot of the basic information. And I told her that I thought the school would be fine for her, but really it sounded like she needed more custom one-on-one work to be able to customize, because she's been through so much and had a lot of testing, that she needed really to be able to customize a plan that fits her best. So I did not think that the school was appropriate for her. How many of you are considering the school and have questions? You can come in. It's okay. How many of you are considering the school and have questions if you think if it's appropriate for you? I know there's several of us on the call right now, so how about you guys make a little comment in the comment section and give me some feedback. Give it a second to see what we got. And I should also ask, like, do you think, are you trying to contemplate, like, do you need this, or are you looking for something more, or are you looking for something else? Are you trying to decide between two different things or other options? Okay, I don't see any feedback. Anayansi, can you talk to me real quick? Yeah. Is there another place where we'll see comments, or no, this is the only place that viewers will see comments?
They should all be there.
Okay.
The YouTube, the Google Hangouts is also live on your Google Classroom.
Okay.
But I'm checking that and I can't see any questions there either.
Okay.
And I just posted something on Facebook, so if they have questions and it's easier for them to go to the Fertility Expert Facebook page, they can post questions there too, in case the page is not working. But they should be able to post every question they have
okay.
on that page.
Great. So we've got excuse me, we've got some new individuals joining us. If any of you have any questions for me about the school, what it offers, if it's appropriate for you, should you be doing it, if you can just write your questions in the comment section, I'd be happy to answer them. That's what I'm here to do today. And we'll go from there. I'll start with another question real quick and see if we give everybody a little bit of time to chime in. How often do I run the program? So right now, we are offering My Fertility School 2 or 3 times a year. It really just depends on the interest and the need. And so we don't expect to offer this again for another 3 or 4 months, maybe more. It might not be again till October or November, it just depends. So if you're just saying to yourself that you think you'll just do this the next time, we don't really know when the next time will be. And so that's one thing to consider. Will I be, oh yeah, so this is also one that we get often. So will I be pregnant at the end of the 6 weeks? I have yet to have a member get pregnant in these 6 weeks. I imagine at some point it will happen, but I don't really suspect that will be the norm, because the school is not designed for you to be pregnant in 6 weeks. It's not like an IVF cycle where you've got a 6-week process, and towards the end of it, you do your transfer, and 2 weeks later you get a pregnancy. It just doesn't work that way. So we're laying the foundation for more long-term progress, more long-term success and health. So no, I don't expect for you to be pregnant in 6 weeks, but I would expect that you'd be pregnant somewhere in the next 3 to 6 months after you start the program, and be able to implement everything and continue to do it. And that's really what I've seen from those members who have joined and been successful. We do on occasion get a question, just are we shipping the school program to you in the mail? And the answer is no. It's an online program. It's all housed online digitally. Once you join, you'll get a username and password, and you'll have access to that lifelong. You'll be able to log in. You'll have content. You get access to the content now, and then anytime we make updates and changes, like we do periodically, then you can then you'll also get those updates as well. So excuse me. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm just switching screens to see if I have any other questions. And by the way, the lovely woman you see walking behind me is Tamara. You can't. She'll say hi now. Hi. She's one of our other practitioners in the office. So. All right. So remember, if it is something that you're ready to do, you can click on that yellow button that says Enroll Now, and you're getting $100 off the program because of the technical issues that we've had recently. And so I want to apologize for that. The promo code is the number 100 and the word off. So you'll be able to use that to get the discount as well. No, that's not the promo code. Sorry, I was mistaken. The promo code is mistake appropriately. So all in capitals. Thank you for that, Aniansi. And you get $100 off for using that. So let's see, any other questions? We've got a quiet crowd this morning. Is it as early for all of you as it is for me? I like doing things early in the morning. It lets me get my day started, keeps me fresh, and then when I'm done, we've got the whole day to enjoy. It should be somewhat of a beautiful day, but it's about to start raining here in San Diego. Hopefully all of you have some better weather where you are. Okay, so let's see here. I often get a question that, and recently this time it's actually been, the age has been older. It says, I'm over 40, will this work for me? And I've recently had patients who have said, I'm over 46 or 47 or 48, will this work for me? It's not designed, the program's not designed to be suited for any one specific individual. It's really to give you the basics, the tools, and the information to be successful, to make long-term progress and change, and then to be able to ideally get pregnant with it. That being said, I do think that some of us will have to work a little bit harder than others to be successful. But the majority, I've found, the majority of my patients who have joined or members who have joined are actually over 40, interestingly enough. And that was not something that I initially intended or thought would happen, but that's the case. So I think it's appropriate for all age groups as well. I'm just going to refresh my screen here and see if we've got any questions. So you can log in and watch the videos and tutorials whenever you like. It's at your pace, but they'll be released 1 week at a time. So we're only going to release the material for week 1 during the first week, and you won't have access to week 2 or beyond yet. And then week 2, we release week 2, so you'll have access to week 1 and 2 and so on. And that's how it's going to go. We do that on purpose because we want to pace you. You can take as long or as little time to do week 1, but you won't be able to do it faster than a week at a time. But you can take longer. So you could take your time and do 2 weeks to do week 1, and then go from there. So any one of those is completely fine. The reason why I do that is because I think it's important for all of us to implement the things that are in front of us and not get caught up with other things. Sometimes we will gravitate to specific weeks or information because it might be easier for us, but it doesn't mean that the information prior isn't important either, and it just might be harder to implement. So I do think it's important for us to go slowly really be able to follow through. We've laid this out in a certain way on purpose so that we can build each week and be successful. All right, let's see. We've got a question apparently. I love it. Hi, Stacy. Okay, your fertility doctor told you you should lose weight. Is there an ideal weight to get pregnant? Well, it's not necessarily about an ideal weight. You know, there's a lot of things that go into that, like height and so forth. Ideally, it's about a BMI. We want to have our BMI around 25 or 26, something like that. You know, you don't really, and you don't want to be too low. It could be 24, but you don't want to be 20. So it's more about your BMI than it is about your ideal weight. And the My Fertility School spends a whole week on that, on nutrition. Nutrition is a big part of what we want to do and what we want to change and implement and improve. And so that's a big part of the process. And managing weight is included in that, because we know that everybody has to be at an ideal weight. Now, it's also not about just being too thin or too skinny as well. You don't want to be too low on weight or too high on weight. There's a proper balance, but there's a window, and it's going to depend on, and that window is going to depend for each one, or vary for each one of us. Okay, give me 1 second. There's this background noise that I want to change. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Okay, let's see here. So often I get asked about success rates for my fertility school. Now, excuse me. Success rates will vary, but they're somewhere between 70 to 80%. And a lot of that variation really depends on each individual person, their history, and how well you're able to actually implement the tools that I lay out for you. I mean, it might seem silly when I say this, but those who I find to be the least successful and fall into that 20 to 30% rate are the ones who just don't follow through with what I've asked them to do. And I do have a patient that comes to mind. She started working with me, and then when I laid out her plan for her, this was a one-on-one patient. And when I laid out her plan, she says to me, I don't know if I can do all of this. It seems too difficult. And really the question was for her, she really needed to do all of these things. I didn't think there was a lot of flexibility, at least not initially. She wasn't having a menstrual cycle, at least not regularly. She was overweight. There was a lot of issues that needed to be adjusted and addressed. And she was too attached to her regular routine, to her diet, to her lack of exercise, to the stress that she was thriving off of. And she just didn't want to make changes. Someone like that's just not going to be successful, unfortunately. And they probably need a coach who's dealing more with the mind-body component to get them over that initial hump. So this program can be and is successful if you're able to follow through with my recommendations. You won't have direct communication with me during the program, in the sense that, like, I won't be live to review your test results and check in with you and give you all my feedback. But we do Q&As during the program that will allow you to pick my brain about your specific condition at times. And so that's how we balance that out. And then I do answer questions, and I am very active on our Facebook, private Facebook group for the school. And so that's another way you can ask me questions and get my feedback as well. Just looking to see if there's any other questions. Give me 1 second. So does anybody have any additional questions about the school? Okay. Anianti, are there any questions on Facebook or anywhere else that you can see?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No.
Okay. So I'll go through another couple of frequently asked questions, and then if nobody else has any questions, I'll let everybody get on with their Saturday morning, okay, or wherever you are, maybe Saturday afternoon. So often the question that I get asked is, will it take me a lot of time to do what I'm asking them to do in the school? I can't say no. It's going to take as much time as you want to put into it, and it's also going to take, but it shouldn't take a little bit of time, right? So I expect all of you to put in maybe a couple of hours a week on your own, working through some things, and then looking at all the tools that I'm asking you to do and start to implement those things. So yes, I mean, I expect it to take some time. It takes some time to make changes, and it also takes time to do some of the techniques and therapies and lifestyle change that I'm asking you to do as well. So it will be a shift, and it should be a little bit of a time investment on your part. That makes me feel like you're doing it right. Okay, so I think there's a question. Let's see here. Awesome, Stacy. Thanks so much. Okay, so you have PCOS, have tried Clomid, and it didn't work. Do you think I will have to do IUI or IVF? Stacy, let me tell you something about PCOS, okay? I believe wholeheartedly that anyone who has PCOS can get pregnant naturally on their own, okay? You've got to change we've got to regulate your cycle. Clomid does not treat PCOS. It bypasses PCOS to force a pregnancy. The tools that you're being offered, whether it's IUI, IVF, or Clomid, are not treating PCOS. They're just trying to, in a forceful way, trying to get you to be pregnant. And if that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not treating the underlying issue. It's not correcting anything. So, my patients with PCOS, 90% of them get pregnant on their own and deliver healthy babies because they put in the time and effort to make the necessary changes to control their diet and lifestyle and change their hormonal imbalances and so forth. Those are the things that I do. The school I have a big section, big commitment to PCOS because it's a big part of what I see regularly. And the school, I think, is a perfect tool for addressing PCOS issues and supporting patients with PCOS like yourself. I hope that answered your question, Stacy. If it didn't, let me know. Okay, let's see here. Just looking to see if there's any. Sometimes I get emailed questions, which is what I'm looking through right now to see if there's anything that comes up that I can help answer for all of you. But please feel free to ask me some questions as well. There are some other questions, but they're kind of similar to what I've already answered, so I'm trying to see if there's other ones. If you live outside the United States, by the way, this program is completely appropriate for you. The only thing that we can't get you, or we have difficulty because of shipping costs, is the additional support tools for the week 2 portion of the program where you're doing all the home therapy techniques, where we teach you how to do Castro packs and vaginal steams and so forth. We've got a kit that you could purchase if you wanted to that we ship out. And so we have, sometimes, depending on what country you live in, we have a little bit of an issue with that. But outside of that, there should be no problem. As long as you've got internet access, you can do this from anywhere. All right. Let's see if there's any other last-minute questions. Oh, we've got some questions now. There we go. Okay. Thank you so much. Look forward to it. Stacy, I look forward to seeing you in the school. Awesome. Okay, yeah, so I did that. And what if I can't follow the program on a weekly basis? What if I don't follow along exactly? Yeah, following, thanks, Aniansi, you got that on email. You can absolutely do this at your own pace. You don't have to do it weekly. I have some patients who said they're going to take 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the week, to kind of go through the material. We all have busy lives, right? like for me, it's easier for me to do things on certain days of the week. So if I only have 1 or 2 days during that week that I can actually follow through, listen to all the material and go through it, then that's what I'm going to do. Or that's when I'm going to do it, excuse me. So I think that's the same in this case. You know, pick 1 or 2 days a week that you can commit to watching the videos, doing the worksheets, watching the presentations, and then use that day to go through the material and be successful and implement everything. But if you can't implement it all in 1 week, then just postpone it and go from there. You have access forever, so it should not be an issue whether you do it in 1 week or in 5. Okay, so anybody have any additional questions for me? Anyone? Let's see here. All right, well, if we don't, then I think we're just going to let everyone get on with their day. Aniansi, any other last minute questions before we go on?
No, if you want to remind them how they can join using the...
Yeah, if you haven't already, on this page above the comment section and below the video, you can click on the yellow button that says enroll now, and then use the promo code MISTAKE in all capitals to get $100 off the program. I thank you everybody for joining, for being here this morning, or for my morning at least. And if you, what was that?
Remind them that starts tomorrow.
Yeah, and the enrollment for the school ends tomorrow and the school starts on Monday. You'll have access to week 1 starting on Monday. So I hope to see you all there. Thank you again for joining us this morning, and have a wonderful day.